Hello, fabulous darlings, and welcome back to Fortune Theory. Today we're going to be talking about Cruella. So, we've got Karl with us today as our special guest, and Patrick as well, who is back again. As you can see, we're in our original establishment. That's just because of convenience of situation. So, let's get straight to the point. Cruella. Karl, considering you're the guest, do you want to have a few words first? We've all seen it.
Shit. It's really.
Shit.
There's two good things about it. The cinematography is alright, and
At
Emma
times.
Stone's really good.
The end. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week. That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
Ollie, you've seen
was
it the
alright.
last. You were the one that's seen it last. I saw it yesterday.
I watched it.
You saw it.
I watched the first
overnight,
part of it
basically.
last night, and then I watched the rest of it this morning. Disney Plus access. Yeah, like I think it's good, but not bad. It's just like
Well,
the
okay,
whole
what do you-
origin
what
story
do
about
you-
the whole plot twist origin story about her is like interesting. I like Emma Thompson as the Baroness though. That I think that was probably one of the best roles in the film. To be honest, I didn't have any issue with that. But yeah, it's just.
Why? Okay, so what do you, other than apparently the Baroness, what do you like about it? Other than what you've said so far, or
I mean,
in your what makes it not great?
I don't know. I can't picture Emma Stone in that role. It just doesn't fit for me. She's. It just.
But did she play it well in
I
your
don't know.
opinion?
Well,
She
I
at
mean, she got the voice right, darling. But she just. I don't know. Seems too young, if that makes sense. Like, obviously,
It is an
she's
origin
meant to be
film.
of that age. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you
She's
mean.
meant to be yeah, I feel like they should have made her not too much older, but at least enough to make a point that she can do what she can do, and it's like appealing. She's not like because it comes across to me as like a middle-aged woman trying to be Emma Thompson in that film, if that makes sense. She's trying to be Emma Thompson's character, who suits that attitude with her age. If that does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically what she was trying to be the entire time, in some sense, because obviously the ending kind of, I won't spoil it, but the ending does sort of lead up.
Ugh.
Yeah,
the end.
yeah, the ending.
God.
What did you think about the ending, Ollie?
Hmm.
The last, unfortunate,
I had,
20 minutes.
I'd like. This is gonna sound really weird. I had like Daredevil season 3 vibes, but it was like if it was really shit, and it was made by like
Yeah.
fucking Warner Brothers. You know what I mean? You know, Carl knows exactly
Yeah,
what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah. That was a good comparison, actually. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just I don't think it was that good. I think it was the
only
best-
the nun is the villain.
I think it was the best live action Disney film that they've done, but that's not saying a lot. I only think it's good because of Emma Stone, and some of the directing was okay. Wait, I don't even know who directed it. Hold on.
Some person. You just went dark. Right, there you go.
Craig Gillespie.
Hmm.
What did he? Oh wait, I Tonya and Lars and the Real Girl. But he's a good director then.
She doesn't eat carrots to Emma Stone.
She doesn't eat Karen.
That's the line, isn't it? I don't know. She doesn't eat carrots.
Not gonna eat Karen. Yeah. Well, I think one unavoidable thing that a lot of people, when the trailer first dropped for Creulla and when talk about Creulla came out, is that obviously the most recent movie that's come out that people are drawing comparisons to is Joker. I know when you guys had me on last time we spoke about Joker a bit, but I'm gonna try not to spoil Cruella too much, but in what I'm about to say is gonna spoil like some of the themes. So, spoiler alert if you care. I don't really think. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I don't think anyone that watches
And
Fortune
whilst I
Theory is gonna
intervene,
give much
Ollie,
of a
look at your
shit.
laptop. Ollie, check your laptop while we intervene. There you go.
Oh,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Carry on.
It just happened.
His camera. Carry on.
Yeah, with like Joker and Cruella, like the main differences and the reason why Joker works and Cruella, in my opinion, doesn't is because Joker was a character study into a fictional character in the world of Joker who just goes mad and becomes a character called Joker, and he does a lot of really awful things in the movie, like really bad things. He kills people. He incites riots, like accidentally. He does a lot of really bad things, and at no point in the movie do they try and make it like a good thing. Like, I think, and if you could put the clip here, Pat, it'd be really helpful. But like Tarantino and Edgar Wright were talking about when Tarantino first watched Joker, and you can attest this already as well because you saw Joker in cinema as well. I think actually we all saw Joker in cinema. Yeah, we did. Me and Pat went together. But when you're watching Joker throughout the first like hour and however long it is up until we get to Murray Franklin, and you're seeing a lot of like really awful things happen to Joker, but then you see Joker get on stage with Robert De Niro's character, who is just like a late night talk show host. That's all he is. But in that like 5 minutes, you want Joker to kill him, and that's like subverting like the audience's take on like a traditional hero character. With Cruella though, Cruella has always inherently in the stories been bad, if that makes sense. Like in 101 Dalmatians, she was the bad character who was trying to steal Dalmatians so she could skin them and make clothes from them.
Mm-hmm.
And the same like in the Glenn Close live action movie, it was the same thing. Like she was straight out villain, and I think it's setting.
Without spoiling it, that's the last thing she does in this film. Like
She doesn't really, does
kidnaps
she?
The dogs. She kidnaps the dogs.
That's what I mean.
Okay, she's gonna do it, but no, she just makes a coat inspired from there.
That's what I mean. Is like it's setting this precedence in modern day films and specifically Disney films, where for some reason Disney are too afraid to make their characters what they are. Like they did it with Maleficent as well, didn't they? Do you remember, Ollie?
Yeah, they even made a sequel to that shit.
Well, Maleficent is like what the what's the because I don't know much about Maleficent, but Maleficent is isn't it the witch from Snow White?
Possibly.
Yeah, the whole pinprick thing, or is it eat the
Yeah,
apple?
and in
I don't
that-
know. Is it
in
the,
that-
the apple poison or the finger prick? When she's 16 or whatever, I don't know. I'm lost.
That's who-
I'm out of touch with my princess films.
Well, no, but the reason I bring up Maleficent is because they did the same thing in Cruella that they did in Maleficent, where they take a character who is inherently bad and for some reason need to give them this story to be like, oh look, this is sad and tragic. This is why they're now good. And you might argue that yeah, Joker did give you some scenes where you should feel sad for him. There's scenes of him, getting kicked in the street in an alleyway and getting beaten over the head and losing his job and dropping his gun in a children's hospital and getting the gun blamed for him, like all these awful things, finding out that he's adopted but then not really adopted, and you feel sad for him, but the movie doesn't shy away from him being the villain still. It's like, well, this is a reason that he snaps, but we're also not shying away from the fact that he just shoots people because he wants to. Whereas Cruella was like, yeah, like you said, Ollie, Cruella was like, oh, she's just like a kind of normal-ish girl, and then she kind of has some things happen to her, and then she kidnaps some dogs, and you're like, oh, cool, like fair enough. We're gonna see her attempt to like skin the dogs like she did, but no, she makes a coat or like some clothes inspired by them, and then gives the dogs to those two people.
Horace and I can't remember the other name.
Isn't it?
The other guy.
Oh yeah, I don't remember either. But
Can't remember.
that's my main issue with it is when you make a villain story, it's the same thing. Disney they have to still market to their audience, which is normally children.
Annoyingly,
can't-
unless it's like a Marvel or Star Wars like movie or TV show, which is like Disney's like a conglomerate of that, but they don't have much of a say in like what content they do because they're their own thing, and they won't want to make something shit.
I would say that Marvel done pretty good with not letting Disney interfere that much, but you said Star Wars and Disney just butchered Star Wars because they did the same thing they did with Cruella.
I was thinking more the live action movies like Rogue One and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like those are decent,
but I just don't understand why there can't be like a clear cut villain anymore with like modern day Disney films. Because I guess we're just in spoilers right now, but the Baroness isn't really even that evil. Also, is she? Because she turned out to be Cruella's mum.
She's just a bit of a bitch.
But then the Baroness kills Cruella's adopted mum.
And the worst part of all of it is like what you even like said to me, Karl, like basically the first time we found out about kind of the critics' take of it is that Cruella is just misunderstood in this film. And this like version of her is just she's misunderstood. And it's
like,
but if you're trying to compare it to like Joker, it's what?
No.
And
the TV show Once Upon a Time, which has all like the fairy tale kind of characters in, they got that incarnation of her spot on. And then I watched this and I thought, she'd never do that. She'd never say that. Like,
exactly.
She's being all sympathetic to people and like really supportive and whatnot. That's not her. Being really kind. Oh, I like you. She's not meant to like anyone. Not even the two goons that fucking. The only thing she's meant to like is the fur on Dalmatians. Because she wants it for her modelling coats. That's the only thing she's meant to like. And she's not going to compliment that.
It's even inherent in her name. Her name is a play on words of Estella and cruel. But a character that's inherently cruel, like Ollie just said, Ollie's exactly right. Why do we need to try and make a character who... It's like making Darth Vader a misunderstood... Well, I guess that kind of is Darth Vader, but... Darth Vader is kind of misunderstood. But it's like...
Asthma.
That's not what happens to Darth Vader in Star Wars. He doesn't just have asthma. Please insert the shot of him burning alive on Mustafar with an inhaler next to him. Sorry, I've just got asthma. My legs are on fire, but I've got a bit of chest pain.
I've got bad lungs and I can barely breathe. That's my reason for being a fucking homicidal secondary maniac.
But it had so much promise, and finding out that the guy who directed Lars and the Real Girl directed that as well, and I, Tonya as well. I, Tonya is a really good film too. I just feel like he probably didn't have as much freedom. No. Well, I know
you can
definitely didn't have as much freedom.
If you look at his filmography up to now, it doesn't look like he's had enough control over it. It's just studio input all the way. The issue is, it's just Cruella. The reason you kind of feel for Joker at times, we're going back to Joker, is because it's subversion. Whereas instead of subverting the audience for Cruella, they just tried to make her more likable. But she's not meant to be likable. She's a movie villain. Like, it's not how you're supposed to do it, and then it's just.
I just hope they're not gonna fucking shared universe it. Like, that's what I was freaked out by, because all these like remakes that they're doing for like Disney films and whatnot. I'm scared they're gonna just like make an Avengers Assemble sort of thing with all these like Disney princesses and all these Disney villains and things.
No, please don't do that.
Please do not do that. It does not work.
But yeah, you hit the nail on the head as well, Pat. You said that Joker was more about the audience being subverted to what they're watching, but nothing is changing. If anything, the great thing about Joker is that it starts off with the audience feeling like feeling like they can sympathize with Joker.
Yeah.
But then the more awful stuff he does is this is what happens to like, so if this is like the level of like, sympathy, and then the level of subversion is what happens is when it gets to a point where he starts to become Joker and does really awful things, the sympathy for him goes down, but the audience kind of liking Joker
the need
goes
for
up.
wanting him to complete his next like move or
Yeah.
next action just increases. You want him to kill Murray, and if you don't, then
Yeah, you
like
want him to kill
Tarantino said,
Murray.
if you don't, then you're wrong. It's
Like
just-
when he
it's
gets up on the
subversion.
car and he makes the smile out of his blood, like you're there as a member of the audience. You're one of two people, because I was one of these people the opening night of Joker, and then
With
I'm
no-
now
like
yeah, like
85
opening night of
watches later.
Joker. You're there, you see him do the smile. As a comic book fan, you're like, yes, fucking come on, he's doing the smile. That's how he makes his smile. He makes his smile out of his blood. That's such a really clever way of incorporating the blood realistically. But then at the same time, that's like the death of the character of Arthur Fleck, and you're there like, oh fuck. Like this person we've watched the whole movie, the biggest villain to that guy is himself. Like the guy at the start of the film that's the hero, and the guy at the start, the guy at the end of the film who's the villain, are the same person. One is just wearing makeup and has a different personality and persona, and the other one is just kind of like a feeble, kind of like underdeveloped, kind of like skinny, scrawny man. No, it's the Underminer.
Whereas Cruella,
yeah.
they just decided to like
John Ratzenberg.
what they should have done is
What did I ask?
Go on, Pat. Yeah, I'll elaborate on it. Go on.
like what they should have done with Cruella is all of her actions they just should have gone. I know they shouldn't copy it, but it's similar in the fact it's a villain. It's a film about a movie villain. So in order to make the origin, you need to. It's the only way to take on that type of character and it not just be constantly hating the character. I mean, that would be an interest. Like, I don't know how you'd go about just 2 hours of hating a character's actions because it would just be the same mood, it'd be the same tone.
Falling down.
Well,
Falling down.
you could do a falling down approach, or you could do the Joker approach of just subverting the audience and making them, actually.
But
Yeah.
Not to derail you, but
it worked with Joker though, because in the comics he's got no identity other than just the Joker. So you could easily, you don't know what he's like before he becomes Joker. So it makes it easier to make him like that just for an adaptation for a story. But for, like you said, Karl, like for Cruella, we know who she is from, the origin in
She's
the original
established.
Dalmatians films,
Yeah.
and she's already an established character. There's no there's nothing we don't know. Like obviously, I think the film adds a few things. It might take some things away as well. Like there's not really much I'm familiar with, but like I said before, you can't make her a character. You can't change her character just because kids are going to be upset if 3 dogs get fucking skinned, because that's who she is. And if you don't like that, and I'm terrified about what you're going to do with fucking Deadpool when you do that, if you're scared about the rights for these with these characters and how because you've got the rights, you can make these characters as tame as you want. No, just fully flesh them out.
Well, that's the thing, is that in the animated movie as well, Cruella's plot, like her plot in the animated movie and the live action 90s one, was that she wanted to skin the dogs, but she got thwarted by the dogs and the humans. So she was going to kill those dogs to skin them, and that was her whole plot, but she got stopped. In this movie, it's like she makes that decision for herself, not that she gets stopped. It's like, oh, I don't want to skin the dogs. I just want to be inspired by the dogs. It's like, well, that's just not your character. And you brought up a good point as well, Ollie, saying about the great thing about Joker. Two of the most probably the two most genius ideas and get out of jail free cards for the writers of Joker is that, number one, the movie's called Joker. It's not called The Joker. It's not called, this is the Joker from Batman. He's called Joker. He doesn't name himself Joker. He gets named by another character in the movie Joker because they call him a Joker. And secondly, you said about how the movie's about a normal guy it's like an origin story. Well, in the film, his name is Arthur Fleck, but he's also adopted. So his actual name Arthur Fleck isn't really even his real name from when he was born. I know that's like the name he gets given by his adopted mother, but yeah, they have the great like they have the anonymity with the character of he's not the Joker, he's not Heath Ledger's Joker, he's not the comic book villain Joker, and he's also not being given a definitive name. But with Cruella, that is Cruella Duvall, and this is a character who wants to skin dogs and do really awful things, and she's now just misunderstood.
Just this misunderstood, like, now just lonely girl or lonely woman. Like, oh, feel sorry for her because she's got some anger issues and that's about it. But it's just it's a shame because it actually could have gone. They could have, like, again, I didn't even think about it, but as you literally said to me as I was explaining it, they could have gone like the falling down way about it, or they could have gone the Joker way about it. Like they could have actually done so many like things with it, but they decided to keep it.
It's like you said. You said like audiences don't want to watch a film with a character they dislike. Why? Like
Exactly.
you can love a film and you can love a character. People like cinephiles, people who love movies, like, and I would say probably if the both of you know this, I know Patrick does, but I'm not sure if Ollie does. Quentin Tarantino's *Inglourious Bastards*. Christoph Waltz played one of the most infamous villains in history of cinema, Colonel Hans Landa. Okay, he is a Nazi. His whole presence throughout the movie is he is a Nazi in World War II. He hunts down people based on their religious, views, the way that they were born, where they're from, for doing nothing wrong but existing. Yet every scene he's on screen, you're like, I fucking love this character. But that is an actual Nazi on screen you're watching. You're watching a fictional member of one of the worst groups of people that's ever existed. Yet as a viewer, you love every scene with him on. Every scene that he's in, you're there and you're invested. So I think films like that, any film with a really gripping villain, if anything, goes to show that audiences will watch a movie about a bad guy, and they can like it. If they just say we're not going to tiptoe around the fact that like, oh, they're misunderstood, they're bad, make them bad, let the audience revel in something they haven't seen before, and if they choose to sympathize or if they choose to view that person as misunderstood, then the onus is on them as the viewer, not as the filmmaker to say this is the definitive answer. That's what annoys me about modern films. We never get a movie, we never get films really much anymore where the villain is allowed to be bad. They have to be misunderstood. I mean, like, Ollie, I haven't seen Fast and Furious yet, the new one. I'm not going to, but I can guarantee that the John Cena's character is just a misunderstood villain, isn't he? And at the end, they turn out to be all right. Well,
Weren't I right?
No comment.
No, you can speak like it. Was that true?
No comment.
I mean, and it's annoying to say this, but like, because I don't want to take Ollie's role for this, but I think like the closest thing to like a movie recently where a villain's just been able to be a villain has been Infinity War and Endgame. It's like Thanos in Infinity War.
That term.
Thanos in Infinity War was basically, oh, I need to get rid of half of the world's everything, half of the universe's everything to like restore balance. But then
he kills
when
his fucking daughter.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. He kills his daughter, and at halfway through Infinity, or like at the end of Infinity War, you can be like, okay, I understood why he did what he did, sort of, if you want to. Like a lot of people understood why he did what he did, although what he did was was wrong. Then in Endgame, when like the Avengers hunt him down and they chop off his arm and kill him, and then like the whole time travel thing happens. When he comes through at the end, he's like, oh no, bollocks to that! I'm gonna fucking kill everything now. That's like, let a villain be a villain. Thanos could be misunderstood, but in the end, even at the end of Endgame, he still wants to kill everything. So he's like, I'm just gonna kill everything now.
What did you just say? Let evil be a villain.
I said, let villains be villains.
Oh, right, completely no context. Don't worry.
But yeah, exactly. It's too much just tiptoeing around a character trait and tropes of like.
It's because they're scared about what the kids are gonna think. Because if imagine if a kid's watching a movie and then like, oh, 3 dogs have been skinned. There's like, oh, it's a pet lover, isn't it? That's what kids are expected to be, the pet lovers. So like, they'll love the fact that dogs are in there. The moment they get fucking skinned, whether it's on or off screen, or it's suggested that something's happened to them in which they're dead, they're gonna hate it. It is like, Disney's like, they don't want that in their products. And like, I get that in a way, but if that's the case, don't make a film about it.
Check your laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I had to do it in time. Karl, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just watching you watch Ollie's thing countdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. That was a fair comparison, to be fair, and brilliant. The battery icon's going now, so you would be switching to your laptop in like 5 minutes.
You want to just take a great intermission for that then?
Well, it might be like half an hour, so we'll just wait until it literally dies. We'll take intermission when it dies.
All right.
But that was a fair comparison for the Endgame, to be honest, because that is literally that works really well actually. Yeah.
But Ollie said, and quite rightly, you can't have and this is what's hindering it. What's hindering it is a company like Disney who own characters like Cruella DeVol, who are like just inherently bad. We're now in this day and age where the only thing that sells tickets is like love and misunderstanding, and it's kind of crazy. Imagine like 20 years ago, like
villains with no motive.
Yeah, villains with like zero motive.
So yeah, they have to have.
So well, why are you bad? Why? That's the thing that annoys me as well. Is like there's lots of films that have done this, and loads of films are pervy to doing this, where like a villain will do a load of really awful things throughout the whole movie, and at the end, the heroes thwart them and then go, "Why did you do that?" And they go, "Because this happened to me when I was younger, or this happened to me and I was this."
Mummy dumped me on an orphanage, and that means she doesn't love me. So that means the whole world doesn't love me. So I've never been taught love. So let's fucking destroy the world. If it's not that, then
Exactly. But that's the thing. It's like that's how easy it is to say. Like it.
I'm not gonna lie, it does work sometimes. Like
it does. But it's overused so much.
Right. Yeah.
And like that's another thing. Is just because if you're gonna make a villain character, make them as bad as you want them to be. If you want them to be misunderstood, let the misunderstandings be shown throughout the movie.
Yeah.
You can't have a character that's like just killing people, like doing really awful things, killing innocent human beings, and then at the end turn around and be like, "Oh, well, I'm sort of bad. I'm sort of good. Sorry." So like, again, we're gonna go to Marvel. Like me and Ollie. Punisher, right? Punisher's not a good guy, but he's not also a bad guy. He's an anti-hero.
He's a cocky see you next Tuesday with a fucking rifle in his hand, with like army forces training, basically.
But both Daredevil and the Punisher series don't make Punisher any less of an anti-hero than he is in the comics. In fact, he's probably a bit more restrained in the live action, because he does some stuff in the comics that you couldn't put to live action. But it's not like, it's like, okay, Punisher's motives. His family were murdered, so he's going to go on a rampage to kill a bunch of people. Is that justified? In the eyes of most people, yes. In the eyes of the law, no.
No.
You can't go and kill people just because you've lost some people in your life. But morally, and because as a viewer, you care about the character of Frank Castle, you're like, well, I understand why he's doing what he's doing, and I like to see that he's killing bad people. But he is in turn now a villain as well. He's an anti-hero. He's not good, he's not bad. He's just sort of in this middle line. And in Daredevil and in Punisher, they didn't try and make him anything less. So you see him doing some really awful things, like, oh, okay, spoilers for Punisher, but me and Ollie have seen it, so well, Punisher's killing a bunch of people.
Insert the theme tune for Punisher, because I love that theme tune.
It is freaking good.
It sounds like an old western, like two people walking, face to face.
You see Punisher killing a bunch of people, and like, okay, Punisher's going on like a revenge quest to kill the people that murdered his family, or like, find the people who murdered his family. Okay, that's pretty fair. But then you see a scene where he was caught on like home video executing a person for no reason in the army, and then you're like, so he was no less than the people he was hunting down at one point. Like, he was just murdering people following orders. And that's where, as a viewer, you have the conundrum of like, well, do you sympathize for somebody who's that bad, or do you understand them as misunderstood? But in Daredevil and in Punisher, the showrunners and the writers and the directors make it clear that there's a distinction between an outright villain and an anti-hero. And then with Cruella, it's like, well, no, she's not misunderstood. She's not a villain. She's not an anti-hero. She's just simply misunderstood. And all she really wants to do is, what is her motive? Like, what does she want? What does the character want as a goal? She wants to be like a fashion designer.
She wants to be like I think she wants to be like She wants to be like the city's best fashion designer above the Baroness, and that's like her version of revenge for like the death of her mum. But I don't know. I can't remember if she finds that out yet at that point or not. I don't know. That's why I'm really confused. It's like they've took a film, they filmed all the scenes, and then they were like, right, we'll put them in this order because it makes it more interesting. Well, now it doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah. And
like
she
a jigsaw puzzle backwards.
She doesn't. Yeah, Cruella and the Baroness. It's like Patrick told me the other day. When me and Patrick talked about Cruella earlier, go on a little bit of a rant, Pat, about the whole Cruella Estella thing and how the Baroness didn't know, sort of thing.
Oh, what? Just how
Like,
dumb
the whole
it is.
name change.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Here's this. Yeah. Oh my god. This it pissed me
I'm
off so-
pregnant.
The
It's
right.
the fact that when she says, sorry to interrupt, Pat, when she says it in the flashback, I think to myself, how the fuck do you not remember this shit? Like, you're like, oh yes, I've had a baby. She must be your age about now. You could have been friends. Do you know my daughter? I don't know her name. Is it Estella? No, it's Cruella. Okay.
So a massive
Sorry.
issue I had, amongst many with it, was this. I'm going to put literally 2 side-by-side pictures on screen now. And apparently the Baroness can't tell the difference between Estella and Cruella. And yet, the only differences...
You watched the film, Patrick!
The only differences are a little bit of hair and makeup. Everything fair enough under the mask slightly. The first time the Baroness is meeting Cruella, but after like the second or third time, it gets a bit fucking ridiculous when you can clearly tell it's Estella, and are you blind, woman? Like it just makes no sense. But no, the issue, that was the issue, is that if that would have even made it slightly a slither of a better film if you had some sort of suspicion coming from the Baroness. But no, from beginning to end, it was just, who is this Cruella? And then it's just like the Estella going, oh, she's got some designs, what do you think of them? And at the very end, oh, it is you! Oh, well, dear.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
Not to just, shit on your earlier statement of audiences don't like to watch movies,
Well, typical
or like,
audiences.
typical. You said, I can't remember what the quote is. It's something like, oh, movie characters who are villains, the movies don't really work. Can you do me a favor? Can you just do this and look at the poster behind you? Just turn around and look at your wall. Physically turn and look at
Right.
Bonnie Montana.
Right.
Scarface is a great movie.
Exactly.
With a great character who is a piece of shit.
I just meant done well, because, like, you can have a morally fucked character like that, and they just they're obliterate. They are shocking in the film. What?
You probably hear the Scarface with a boom pole behind you. The morally bad character is Patrick's Cruella. Patrick's version.
That's
Patrick's
my
version of
fucking
Cruella is in Dead Dalmatians, Dead Cats.
It's all he's got left of Lady Tottingham's corpse. It's just a fucking like, it's old hair.
Oh my god!
It's an old grey what's it.
But yeah, what I really meant was is that when they're not done well, because fuck's sake, you can have. There are many examples of the character done well, and then Cruella is just a terrible example. All right, you're gonna recover. Is it that bad?
I want a t-shirt with old grey What's on it. Please make some fortune pay match with just a grey What's and Ollie's face on it.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Pat. Sorry.
Sorry for the interruptions, you fabulous people. Thank you so much for watching this video so far. And if you really like the stuff you're seeing, please feel free to like and subscribe. Back to the video.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I just meant ones that aren't done well. Cruella. Like a character. Well, it's even worse for that. It's even worse by that standard because they didn't even try to make her unlikable. They tried to make an unlikable character likable in the worst way possible, and just either falling down it or Joker it or seven it. Yeah. And imagine that. Oh, Disney, what are you doing? Oh.
Just the woman at work gets a phone call. Hi, detective. I visited your dogs today. What's in the fucking box? Just a good bunch of Dalmatians.
There are suspects. The 100 deadly Dalmatians. 101 deadly Dalmatians.
Dalmatians! We have to make that as now. We have to make 107 Dalmatians.
Seven Mation.
107 Dalmatians. It's just that one scene in Seven where Brad Pitt's tackled by the dogs. Sorry, I got through, of course, though.
Oh, that was fantastic. Dalmatia.
So, I would like to pose a question to the both of you. I know we've briefly talked about it. We've briefly talked about it very quickly. Or like that's what we've spoken about most so far. But let's pose a question to the two of you. Not counting any movies we discussed so far, can you name me a movie that you've seen in recent years where the character has flip-flopped, where the filmmaker has decided to make a character a pure villain, but then decided to make them misunderstood, and it's been done in a bad way? And can you mark a time where it's happened recently where it's been a good way? You can use Infinity War and Endgame as one of your examples, Ollie, because no offense, but Patrick watches a lot more movies than you do, because he likes to think he's pretentious. So,
Just watch films.
Patrick's like fucking Lord Farquaad at this point. He's fucking compensating.
Where is this coming from? Okay.
Farquaad.
You go first.
Sorry.
Yours probably going to be boring, so you go first.
You go first because you probably have an answer. I'm still trying to think. Thank you though.
All right, fine. For me, I'd
Oh my
say
God.
okay. I am going to go Marvel first because it's the first thing I can think of. Nebula, in the transition between Guardians and Guardians 2, because I felt
You
like
think that was good?
well, no, not really. It was better as it went along, because they evolved it a little bit more, and you kind of like understood. But it was like they made it so she wasn't like set in stone with her initial goals. Because like first she wants to impress Thanos, but then she's like, "Oh, you're gonna kill him. If you kill him, I'll help you destroy loads of planets." But no, because she wants to impress him. It's like she can't decide if she wants to keep him alive and impress him, or just kill him because she knows otherwise, or kill him because she thinks he's a danger, yet she intends to destroy planets anyway. And then she has this like slight redemption arc in Guardians 2, which is really pointless because she goes to kill Gamora and then she's like, "No, I don't want to kill you because you're my sister. I just don't like the fact that you upstaged me to Dad." And yeah, and then she's like, oh, let's be friends, kind of. And then they find the skeletons, and they're like, we have to get off this planet. Not, I want to leave. Yeah, I came here to kill you. Now I don't want to kill you. I think it's just like, and then since then she's just decided, I'm not going to impress Daddy anymore. I'm just going to kill him.
That's a good.
Kind
That's
of
actually
only,
good.
That only made sense because she obviously not only had time to be on her own and think about things, but she saw like the fact that Ego was trying to destroy the whole universe. Whether she really understood what was going on with that, I don't know. But like she knew that obviously it was a see you next Tuesday, so she had to help fight against him, I suppose. But then you cut to like Infinity War, and it's been like 4 years in their timeline, so she's had time to go off and do her own thing. Goes after Thanos, and then she's like, okay, I've grown now slightly, so I'm gonna be a good guy, even though I'm not really a good guy in the comics. Regardless, because in the Infinity War storyline in the comics, she actually takes the gauntlet and snaps herself at one point, either wiping out the universe or wiping out half of it anyway. She kills Thanos first and then does it herself, which I thought that she might have done in Endgame, making her the big bad of that story, because she's like the reason it all comes together in the end, kind of, which makes me wonder, and she's an Avengers villain in the comics as well, so it made me wonder whether or not it was actually her in a way, but obviously it's Thanos, because, it's what they've been building to. Yeah, do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I think that was a really, I love the Guardians films. 1 and 2 are really good, but I agree, Nebula's whole thing was very, very sudden, and it was the same way where, like you said, it's one of the things I dislike the most about Endgame and most Marvel films is when I hate when character progression happens off screen. Like the 5 year later thing, and then you don't see Hulk become Professor Hulk.
Yeah. I was literally about to say that. Wow.
Yeah. That's what I mean. But like, it's the same like you said with Nebula. Like
I think
Nebula
in Stark having a daughter thing, that I don't have an issue with that.
Me
But
neither.
the whole Hulk thing was a bit. I think that was a bit too much to leave out. I think, and originally that was going to be in Infinity War anyway.
The reason why the Morgan Stark thing worked is because we know how, like, not to get graphic, but we know how a child comes into existence.
They're not going to show them having sex, are they?
I know that. I'm not saying we as the viewers know how a baby's born. We don't know how a man and a green thing cohabitate and become, fucking Jack and the Beanstalk fucking looking ass.
Indeed.
Thanks, Ollie. I know they're going to show that.
I wasn't saying you didn't know. I was
I know.
saying it as the audience. Yeah.
But yeah, Nebula's thing, like, that was a really good example, actually. Guardians 1, she's a bad guy. Guardians 2, like, the opening scene is that they're swapping her for, like, they're trading her over for something, and then she's still really bad for that, and then she tries to kill Gamora on Ego, and then, they just, like, become friends, and it's like, oh, fuck it, everything's fine.
Oh, just because you saved me from an exploding ship, and then she, like, goes to fight her afterwards anyway, and then Gamora's like, are you crazy? And I was like, you've just asked an audience question there, because fucking like, yeah.
What about you,
from
Pat?
Marvel? Yeah, go on, Pat.
The most significant one I can think of, not really necessarily insignificant, but is probably Borden or Christian Bale's character in The Prestige, purely because of just how.
A classic. Get the bingo cards out, guys. Patrick talks about Nolan. Tick.
Well, it's the only ones I can properly think about. That or Professor Brand from Interstellar, purely because, like, that is the plot twist of the film, is that he lied to them to get them going out there. And a recent one, I don't know, I'm not even going into detail as to why. A recent one, I just had to look up the character's name. Martin, the guy in Army of the Dead, who isn't even a villain, really. He's just villainous to the group. He's like the officer that goes with them. That ends up getting, like, the first girl. And that is just a bit too typical of a side villain type person.
Can we really quickly talk about my Zack Snyder hypothesis that I posed to you? And wasn't I fucking right? I had a hypothesis, discarding everything he's made before Man of Steel. So starting from Man of Steel, Zack Snyder makes a great movie, and then he makes a shit movie, and then he makes a good movie. Man of Steel, great. Batman v Superman, dog shit. Zack Snyder's Justice League, good. Army of the Dead, dog shit. He makes a good film and a bad one, and a good film and a bad one, and a good film and a bad one.
The even ones are shit.
He just can't seem to do a constant stream of. He just does one by one, and then like why? Because I've not properly seen Batman vs Superman, but it could be good, couldn't it? If done right or not.
It's like he's got all of his energy in his first story, and then in his next story, he's like cooling down from that energy, and he's like, "Oh, I can rest now because like
Ollie, check your screen."
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just hit the click. I was like,
Carry on.
yeah. What are you thinking, Karl?
I just accidentally full circled this because Pat said it could be good. The reason Batman v Superman isn't good is because Batman is misunderstood in that. He's not even the bad guy.
Yeah.
The whole thing in that
Warner
is
Bros.
what
is
was
like-
wrong?
Warner Bros. Fucking Daredevil season 3'd it, where they were like, he's not gonna fucking kill him.
That's the perfect
Oh,
example.
no, yeah. Sorry, no. He is gonna fucking kill them. Batman doesn't kill.
No, to be fair, hold on, wait. To be fair, to Zack Snyder's credit, there is a very famous comic book storyline called The Dark Knight Returns in which Batman does kill. He loses a bunch of people in his life and he becomes a killer. I'm absolutely fine if you want to make a live-action version of that. And to be fair, I was absolutely fine with watching Batman v Superman, watching Batman want to kill Superman. The reason for him not killing Superman is based on the fact that their mums have the same name. Zack Snyder, I'm sorry. You make some really, really good set pieces. You have some beautiful cinematography. You've made some really decent films. Having two characters share the same fucking named mum is not a good enough reason to have them fight. and the acting in that scene...
That's like saying, oh, our dads went to the pub together. Maybe we shouldn't brawl.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's literally like...
It's like Batman v Superman starts out really cool. Like if you haven't seen it, in the movie previous, in the first movie in the series, Man of Steel, which is about Superman's origin, in the last 40 minutes of Man of Steel, they have a big fight in the city, and the city gets destroyed and all this bad stuff happens and anything. At the beginning of Batman v Superman, you see this really cool sequence, which is from Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne's point of view, where he's driving through the city as Superman and Zod are fighting, and the city, the buildings coming down, and it's like, oh shit! And you find out that when Superman and Zod were fighting, one of the buildings they destroyed was owned by Bruce Wayne, and all the people inside the tower basically died. So Bruce Wayne's, a lot of Bruce Wayne's friends and close family died. So his motive then is I'm gonna use my resources to fucking kill Superman because he's a threat to Earth, and that was the whole thing with the Dark Knight Returns as well. And any comic book where Batman's wanted to kill Superman it's always been about the fact that Superman is the strongest being on Earth, and that's why he needs to kill him. It's because he's too strong. So up until that point, I was fine. But yeah, the whole thing with Martha. Please put this clip in as well because I've shown Pat this before. If you remember Batman v Superman, one of my favorite bits of direction, because it's so bad, is when Superman and Batman both have their first confrontation. Batman signals the light up in the sky, and there's a shot of Superman, and Superman drops down, and he starts to walk towards Batman, and Batman sends these sound things up, and it starts shooting sound into Superman's ears, so he destroys them. They walk up to each other, and Superman goes, "Bruce,
you don't understand. There's no time." I understand.
When two characters need to talk to each other, the one who wants to initiate a conversation can't then just go "Oh, see you later, I'm going to throw you across the football field." Yeah. That's a whole... I'd love to do a podcast on that.
Keywords, trailer shots.
Yeah. That is
No relevance to the plot, just trailer shots. But now they have
Yes,
to include
I love Fired Up, Ollie. Ollie, go. You're so right. That is...
That was literally it. That was literally it. I think I said it last time we did a video. I remember telling you about that shot with the guns in Fast 9, and I couldn't picture that being like a shot that they used for the film, because it just something about the flow of that scene from whatever was going to go before and come after it didn't feel like something you'd see in the film, if that makes sense. It just I can't understand. I can't, obviously I haven't really like seen it properly to be able to like describe it, but like either they're gonna have to like reframe it or whatever, but the way they show it in the trailer, I can't picture that being a shot that they use in the film. It just doesn't flow right with me for any, unless it's really going to be that bad of a film. Like, yeah. Well, I won't say anything.
But
It's a petition. I know you guys did, and this might spawn something. So if it does, I won't take credit for it. I will just happily watch as a Fortune Theory viewer. I think you guys should do what you did with the cherry reaction. You should watch movies that you don't like and critique them whilst you're watching them, because it'd be really interesting to watch you guys live react to some really awful films. And if you happen to get around to Batman v Superman, if you do that, I would love to be there to watch it, because it'd be very funny to watch you guys react to it, because it is a very bad film.
Yeah, I did love doing reactions. They were just pain in the ass, but I'm happy to. Yeah.
Pain in the ass because you had to like blur them out.
Well, copyright's just a bitch
because
anyway.
we only.
But
Yeah, not only that, but also
True.
if we were to do it,
Yeah.
we would have done like something very new, which probably wouldn't be
but
allowed
we
to be
wanted
viewed
to
that
do
way
more
yet.
anyway.
But
so
yeah,
it might spawn like every now and again we do one, especially one we hate. That'd be a good one. Just critique the fuck out of like any shit film. Yeah.
Like, it is subjective, but Batman v Superman is not good.
yeah.
I don't know how we got into the tangent on Batman v Superman. I'm very sorry.
So whilst we were on about Joker and Cruella, we now have the news that Cruella 2 is in the works and Joker 2 is now being not rewritten, written. I mean, Karl, as a I'm not paying attention, so well, first of all, you love Joker as a origin. You're
I
not
do.
helping, Ollie. What are you doing? This is perfect. You love Joker.
What is that?
You love Joker. It is literally your favorite film, I think. I think it topped your number one.
Did it?
Yeah, it became your number one, didn't it? Yeah.
What is your number one?
Yeah, it did. Joker is one of those films that I love a lot, and then after some time, it still remains in my like top 10, but it's not like I cream it over. I just like the movie a
Okay.
lot. Yes.
But
Sorry, continue. Yes.
as it has evolved from like loving to it's a really good movie in your opinion. What do you think of a second one?
No.
No.
I don't want it.
It's like Jordan Peterson.
I don't want
No. No.
Because we spoke about this
Yeah.
in the first episode I was on with you guys, where the whole theme was franchises. Basically, you wanted me and Ollie to fight because I don't agree with making stupid sequels for no reason, whereas Ollie wants to like mine a movie until it can't be mined anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious 20, Ollie's still like, yeah, let's keep going. But I don't think it needs it.
I could milkshake here and there, but like not that many. Yeah, so
It doesn't need to exist. It doesn't need to exist because, again, like I said in the first episode of when I was on here the first time, for my franchises, everything you need to know about the movie has been said and doesn't need any more to be said. Like, it's just kind of there. It's done. You find out the character becomes a version of Joker, and then the rest of the movie is history. You can pretty much put in your head together what that character is going to go on and do. He's probably going to do some. Probably
Well,
keep doing
that's the
some
whole
really bad
point.
shit.
It's not meant to be. That the ending is perfect.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be told what he's going to do because you know what he's going to do.
yeah.
But now the movie's out one of showing and not telling. But now we're going to tell and show you as well.
And it's the issue that
I mean, that's just money. That's not even like milking it at that point. That's just money, isn't it?
I'm.
Why you made the milkshake comment on it? I'm sorry.
Sorry. It just works so
It's
well.
why
like-
I'm surprised that Todd Phillips is the one working on a second one.
Hangover 2, Hangover 3.
Yeah, I know he's done a trilogy,
I wouldn't mind
but
the fourth one of that. Those are really great.
um,
I believe I can fly.
cocaine. Is there a person to satchel?
Die. Think about it every night and day.
That just says, do you like websites?
Buying fruit, San Andreas.
We put a shot on screen right now of Zach Galifianakis kissing the Labrador. Start the driveway, just tonguing the dog. Sorry.
But I,
Yeah, I just think it's such a stupid idea because I would be very surprised if Joaquin happily signed on to another one, unless he accidentally like signed the contract.
didn't he? It is part of the news though that he has signed, isn't he?
No.
I can't.
I thought
Not
he was a
confirmed.
sequels guy. I thought like
Hmm?
he didn't want to do like he wouldn't. He'd only play one character once. He wouldn't play anything twice.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't been said yet.
No.
Because I know you're right. Like one of the reasons, because he was almost cast as Doctor Strange in the Marvel movies, but because he didn't want to do sequels, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Ollie?
I heard a rumor about that, but
Yeah, he was almost.
Cumberbatch got the role, so
I think actually Joaquin was first choice. Then they went with Benedict Cumberbatch because he didn't want to do sequels. I don't know if that's true or not, but
And as for
he'd be a
Cruella,
good.
that's
He'd be a good
just-
Nightmare though in the sequel, because they're bringing in Nightmare for one of the Doctor Strange sequels. He'd be good for that, I think.
sorry, Pa.
I was just, I was rewatching the ending of Cruella in my mind then, because annoyingly it sets up a second one, but it's not needed.
Oh yeah, that's Cruella 2.
Oh God, what's that gonna be?
It's been greenlit, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was literally greenlit with
Go
like
on,
a
Pat.
week of it coming out.
Go on a rant. Go on a rant.
Why? Why?
I was scared when I was watching it because the fact that they hadn't used her surname yet. I thought, is the sequel gonna develop the DeVille as part of her name? And then they made a
If they
reference to it
make
in the film. and I
if
was
they
like,
make the second one Cruella DeVille,
or they're just gonna call it DeVille.
I am becoming a
It's not
bricklayer.
even.
Like,
Yeah, it becomes like the Batman trilogy. Where it's like Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Cruella, DeVille.
I give up with life. Annoyingly, the ending of Cruella does, in some sense, in some way, set up. It's not a completely closed ending. It ends just, they're in the hallway and boom, Cruella. I don't know what she says, but it's something dumb, and then it ends. Oh no, it's a voiceover, isn't it? I think like a narration, and then it ends, and I just, I mean, it's a bad film anyway. Just leave it at 1. We don't need 2. Even if it was going to work as a second, which apparently it's somehow going to work as a second.
According to Radio Times. Go on, sorry, Ali.
Yeah, sorry. Can I ask you a question a second? This goes for both of you as well. Would you like? I wouldn't say it's the worst film. It's not my personal favorite. It's not.
Yeah.
I understand why it's bad here and there, but like, do you guys dislike it because it's based on a character and a kind of, shall we say, a Disney princess-like mythology sort of book/film 2D cartoon series of like childhood nostalgia that you wouldn't have really been interested in anyway? It comes from that kind of lore, and then hearing about it now, it's like it's not really something you'd watch. The only reason you'd watch it and review it is because of the similarities, so-called, to Joker. And now you're watching it and you're like, I'm choosing to not like this anyway because I don't.
No, for me, the reason I don't like Cruella,
As well as your correct reasoning of it actually being crap.
the only reason I dislike Cruella is because it doesn't stick to what the character is true to. Because some of my favorite films of all time are films that are made for children. Like one of my favorite films of all time is called Treasure Planet, and that movie is one of the most childlike movies ever. But it has a very strong adult theme, whereas Cruella has a very strong adult look, but is very not strong adult, and takes a character and just decides to be like, Because good thing as well, we've all seen Treasure Planet now. A good idea, a good example of a character in a movie that was made by Disney is Silver. Like, he's really bad throughout the movie. He's like does some really awful shit. He's a thief. He's a pirate. He's selfish. He's greedy. But he learns to he learns to become, less of a greedy asshole through the movie, through experiencing experiences with Jim, the character Jim. But with Cruella, it's like, well, all these things. Like, imagine if they made a Truth Planet live action. For the love of fuck, do not do it. God damn it, don't do it. Sorry, I'm just talking to the overlords of Disney. Don't do it. But if they do make a live action Truth Planet movie, imagine if Silver was just like, he didn't do any of the bad stuff he did, or like Mr. Scroop, the guy like the lobster dude, the crab dude, the kid, the bad guy, the quintessential
real
villain
bad guy.
character. Imagine if he's just like, yeah, I'm not bad anymore. I'm just misunderstood. That's what it is for me. It's the fact that when you make a character and make a movie based on a character, and you do nothing with the character that is that character, why the fuck are you making the movie called Cruella?
The problem is with Disney is that they pantomime their stories. So at the end of it, they all come in for the big dance. Like, even characters that would have died in the actual plot, it's like they all come back for the big sing dance at the end. I mean, I love stuff like that, because I'm that kind of guy, but it's a play thing, not a film thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
What about you,
to
Pat?
answer your question, Ollie, I mean, they aren't obviously my favourite genre. That's not my favourite type. I wouldn't necessarily choose to watch Cruella, but I like watching films, obviously, so I'll watch almost everything. But just from a filmmaking perspective, it's just, in my opinion, it is just poorly told and a badly a character that just it's not been done properly in a live action form, and they've just completely obliterated some of the main vital parts of the character as Cruella, and it's just not what works for her as a character.
Sorry, I don't want to just kind of derail you, Pat. I just read the synopsis for the potential Cruella 2, and it's made me want to hit my fucking head against the desk even more
Please,
than what he has.
please.
God, go on.
Beyond the fact that the film will presumably take place between the events of the first Cruella film and 101 Dalmatians, it's difficult to guess exactly what might happen in the sequel. Cruella ended the first film a far more ruthless and cunning figure than she was at the start, but she wasn't quite pure evil just yet. So
Hold on. So you've done one film, just hold on.
She's not that bad, Cruella 2. She's setting fire to orphanages!
So
That's like how bad she is.
So the way it works is we're going to do one film that just completely obliterates this character. The second one's going to go,
And then we're going to do that for the purpose of making a sequel, wreck on it.
So because we fucked up the first one, we're just going to make her the way she actually should be in the second one, but still fuck it up somehow.
Cruella DeVille! Cruella DeVille!
Wait, hold on.
Third one. Cruella DeVille's the third one. Second one's DeVille.
I'm still reading, just so I can get this last bit out for Pat's. I just want to see Pat's face. So imagine the follow-up will continue her villain trajectory, perhaps this time against an 80s backdrop.
Right. We had Wonder Woman 84. Please stop.
Where's Steve Trevor?
Right.
We can't talk about Wonder Woman 84 on this. I will get too political about it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No, it's fine, it's fine.
Not only stop using Blue Monday by New Order everywhere, Hollywood. But what is it with just What is it with going to the 80s for no reason? Just I want an 80s film. Fuck it, let's do it. Yeah.
I didn't fucking like that.
How does it feel? Treat me like you do.
Why?
50.
Why does it need to be set in the 80s? There's no need.
It hasn't been confirmed. Wait, let me see if I can get a confirmed Phil 1980s.
Why can't we get a film in the 70s? I mean, come on, the 50s came back in the 70s. Come on, guys. Like, fashion-wise. And that's such a Creulla thing. Sorry. I'm just being... I'm fucking going by the ears.
The issue is everything. Why? So, yeah, if that's, like, as accurate as it is, the first one is just a pointless 2-hour film, and then the second one is actually going to be what Cruella DeVille is meant to be. It's going to be, I wasn't bad enough in the first one because I was misunderstood. I'm actually going to be Cruella DeVille properly now, and even though I'm a bit late to the act. I'm sort of grown up and late, and yeah, I'm a bad
It's
film
like
though.
the first one's like part one, and this is like where a part one doesn't work, and then part two is the payoff you were waiting for, like the proper payoff, and that's what the second one's going to be. That's going to be like her becoming who she really is. I bet you any money Disney did that on purpose for a cash grab.
100%.
Yeah.
Imagine if Joker ended halfway through, and as Arthur becomes, you know that scene where Arthur is walking down the escalator, or he walks to the elevator and he goes on the stairs. Imagine if the film just ended on the stair dance. That's the whole movie. And then Joker 2 is about just Joker. It's
So
like,
you got-
why?
The first one's just called Fleck, and the
If they
second
do
one's-
this, if that is how it goes, it's beyond retarded. Beyond retarded. Excuse me. Like,
They probably will do that. Ollie is very right there about the Disney cash grab. 100% I'll
Yeah.
probably do that. But yeah, like Ollie said,
They
sorry,
made it shit on purpose to make it to do.
you mentioned retconning. You're right. Like, go on about the retcon.
So, like, obviously, for those who don't know, retcon is when they decide to take some pre-established material and change it. So, what they've done in this film is, as we've been saying, they've tried to establish her as a misunderstood villain, which is completely against like who she is actually. So now, I don't know how they're going to go about it in the sequel, if they're going to try and change that to make her so she's not misunderstood, unless she decides to use that mentality that she's misunderstood when actually secretly she's not, as like, in a way, as like how she presents herself to other people. So like, people should see me and like me and feel bad about me because I'm misunderstood. But actually, no, I'm not misunderstood really. I'm just using that as like my cover. Even though I'm still going to get arrested for my actions, I'm still evil. And I secretly like it, but this way I can get away with it in society's eyes. Even though that makes like no fucking sense. But yeah.
it's just.
Ugh.
Why? We don't. Okay, for a start, we don't need a second one. And sorry, I said that the best time, Karl. All they've done is they've done what they should have done in one film, in now two, and it. Why Disney? Why? If a Disney exec watches this, check yourself. Like, but what are you doing, Ollie?
I don't have anything with Disney drama. I've had enough Disney drama on my own channel with fucking Star Wars videos I make.
Oh yeah.
I don't want any more drama with Disney.
But the fact that
Are you done, Pat? Okay, no.
yeah, no, I'm done. I'm
Sorry.
just trying to continue. Keep going.
You'll probably cut this out, or if you don't cut this out, can you curious impact but beep out what I say so the audience can only watch our reaction? The reason I was laughing is because Patrick screenshotted a headline from a news article. Just that fat.
It's just a funny headline.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
Oh, so Ollie, you were saying? Were you going to say something?
No, I forgot.
Oh.
I just don't
So
know
yeah,
anymore.
it sounds
Like,
like. Sorry.
Joker, in my opinion, is better than Cruella. Cruella,
Yeah.
I can sit through Cruella not knowing that it's not going to show anything that I'm going to feel like, freaked out about. But I could probably watch. To be fair, like, I watched Joker at a really bad time in my life, so now I could probably go back and watch it.
You 100% need to watch
Respect.
it now.
We can watch around mine.
Yeah,
Come on mine and watch it.
because I've only watched it once, but from what I remember about it, it's so well done. They flesh him out so well.
Yeah.
The evolution of his character is perfect. And
Like I said earlier with Cruella, it's just like it's a puzzle piece that's done wrong. It's like you're doing a donkey and you put the head where the tail's meant to be, and it makes no fucking sense.
Donkey, your head's around it.
I'm a stallion, baby.
It's fantastic.
Get out my tail and I can shit out my mouth. look at me, Shrek. I'm trotting.
Oh, okay. Okay, Carl's dying. Carl is
What's
gone
in that
far.
stuff?
Right, I'm gonna keep it on track for a minute. Okay. So basically, what it sounds like from what Carl explained in the synopsis, Carl's gonna die quietly for a minute, and they both are. It sounds like Disney have just decided to make a terrible first film that is just a misunderstood villain that was evolved terribly in this version of her, in this live action version of her. And now in the second one, they're going to try and, pick up the pieces, dust, sweep the dust under the rug, but it's probably not going to work because, you fucked the first one up. Don't try and, fix her in the second one when you already fucked her in the first one. It's just, you already fucked her up in the first one. Just stop. Because it didn't work. Just, delete it. Delete it off your servers, and then remake it if you have to. Cancel Cruella.
Yeah, Disney just cancelled Cruella.
There we go. A cancel culture is in full swing. Cancel Cruella. Yeah.
Are we gonna
Get cancelled for cancelling it.
In terms of Disney, villain films, I wouldn't say no to a Scar film called Scar. I feel like
Do you mean the film called The Lion King?
yeah, basically, but it follows Scar.
So why the fuck do we need another one then?
Yeah, I know. No, I mean there's some that they can do right. I feel, but there's because I feel like you could barely get that wrong. Otherwise, there's no point in making it because otherwise you'd be you're not playing with the right tools to fix the car, if that makes sense.
Fortune Fury disclaimer here. Please do not play with tools if you're an underage child. Do not play with tools. Play with toys, not tools.
Yeah.
Toys, not toys, not tools. Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, I interrupted you making a really stupid joke.
The BBC would like to point out that helium is very dangerous. Come on, Winnie, let's have a big one. Hello, Winnie.
Basically, Hollywood has decided to try and make sequels or prequels, whatever they want them to be, additions to two original live-action films that one was amazing and should be left alone as it is, and the other was an abomination of a film that just needs to be left alone and burnt and just get rid of it, get it off your records, and you don't try and. Basically, what they're doing is they're bringing a what are they called? I need to look up the name now. What are they called? I need to actually look up the name. They're bringing a defibrillator. They're trying to bring a defibrillator to Cruella, and with Cruella DeVille or whatever the second one's called. Cruella 2.
DeVille.
If they just call it the Cruella defibrillator, and it'll be fine. And then
Well, a defibrillator.
oh, defibrillator.
I thought defibrillator was like a light.
Darling, this is a defibrillator. Nothing kicks you back to life like Corella's touch.
Oh no, yeah. Never
Can
mind.
I just say, all these impressions have been spot on. He did the donkey one that had me crying. He did the Mrs. Brown's Boys one, which I didn't know what he was doing until he did the laugh, and the laugh just killed me. I'm really sorry.
I was gonna do the Winnie McGugan cup of tea, but Pat started talking, and I was like, "You're already fucking dying, so you're gonna miss it." Cup of tea.
Oh god. But we've got 2 films in the works that don't need to be in the works. And I don't know.
I'd love a film about the Go Compare guy.
Why? It would just be 5 minutes of singing. Well, sorry, opera.
He'll go into his opera story. That would be interesting.
Oh, he'll be misunderstood as well.
Pair guy movie Ollie.
He used to be a rapper, but he's misunderstood and went into opera.
Yeah.
Started was 8 Mile and ends up as the fucking Edith Piaf fucking biopic with Marion fucking what's her name?
And then Mrs. Brown's voice,
Dawn!
and then Dermot and Buster from Mrs. Brown's Boys just go like both dress up as him because he's got like this whole fan base. It's like fucking Fred the movie with all the girls with the fucking massive rucksacks when he's going to like that fucking girl's house, and then like he turns up and throws up, and then like you've got like Dermot and Buster dressed up as fucking Go Compare Man. They walk in on her, and then he's like, "Nah, Mummy's fainted before."
Pat, there's gonna be so much of this podcast you have to edit down because me and Ollie's been messing about.
Oh,
You have a lot of best bits for your next best bits, but not a lot of actual like.
yeah. Like 90-10 best bits to content.
It's not
I'm
that
so
film,
grateful that you
just
ranted on boringly, Pat, because me and Karl have had a chance to go on mute and just fucking piss ourselves.
sorry, bring us back on track. Pat.
Yeah, Cruella and
Well,
Cruella.
that's all I've been talking about. But
Darling.
you can't. It's just you can't beat into the ground anymore. Like we're getting 2 films that don't need to be made, and it's just pointless. One is an amazing film that doesn't need a second one because it was told perfectly in one lovely
The other is
film,
Cruella.
and the other is Cruella. Yeah. Just in case you forget. Yeah.
Right, so I don't remember this from the context of like Cruella's story, but is it like established in the 100 Dalmatian films that like her mum is
Nope.
like, the one that says, "Oh, your name's Estella, not Cruella."
So from what I
That
remember,
is- to me, that is like kind of shit, but at the same like that
The
name
one-
compared to like like you were saying earlier with Joker being just Joker because someone calls him Joker. To me, that's shit, but at the same time, it's like I get it in a plot way, you know. Oh, it because cruel, like she's cruel, and then her name's Estella, Cruel, Stell, Cruella. I kind of get that, but it feels a bit lazy writing at the same time.
from what I remember of the
That's my only
live
preference,
action,
but-
from the live action 101 Dalmatians movie where Glenn Close played Cruella de Vil, the whole thing, all you know about her is that she's friends with the owners of the 101 Dalmatians, and she's a fashion designer, and she wants the puppies to make clothes from. You know nothing more about her than that. They knew each other, they've been friends, and Cruella's now bad. But she was
So
always
there's no motive for her being evil or anything. She literally just wants the puppies to skin them because she thinks
But
they
yeah,
make nice coats.
back then, villain. The only context you needed a villain to have is that they are bad. That
And
was
then
her
for
whole
some
thing.
reason,
I mean, I like that in a way because the story's
Yeah.
not even meant to be about them. It's meant to be about obviously the protagonist that goes up against them. That's why I like that in some stories. But when you're doing a story about a villain, you have to include the motive, and it has to be good as well. It can't be cheesy or shit. Like, you know.
And then for some reason, they just make her into a thief on the streets in this film, like just.
Yeah, she didn't have to
a
hang
hus-
out with Horace and the other guy. I hate I do apologize for anyone who's watching this who is happened to be a fan of this film, but I can't remember what his name is. I think it begins with P,
I
but I can't
apologize
remember.
that you have to like it. Oof.
Nice.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
No impact.
I'm sorry. It's just.
I think I'm out of juice. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
wrap back one now.
yeah, we'll wrap it up.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
well, like I said, we've pretty much beaten Cruella into the ground as much as we can. But Joker doesn't need a sequel, but it's getting one or a prequel or whatever it does with it. Ah.
How the fuck did they prequel Joker? Fleck.
The Joker sequel is going to be about the Joker prequel sequel is going to be about Joker's mum.
Mrs. Fleck.
It's not really. I'm just kidding. They better not do that.
Jokeress.
Who knows?
I'm Joker, darling.
Cruella's Joker's mum. That's why it's set in the fucking 80s. Brilliant.
I wouldn't put it past Disney.
Darlings, thank you so much for watching this video today. We will not rant any longer. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, no
Wait,
wonder my outfit is beautiful.
I'm really sorry. Ollie, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to leave it on a cliffhanger, but you know what you said about shared universes. Disney want to buy DC. Joker is a DC product. Cruella is a Disney. That might happen if they buy. Bye, guys.
That's a good place to end it. That's a good place to end it, I think. Well then. Thanks for watching.